Shalom and welcome to the CJN podcast Rivkush. I'm Rivka Campbell and our podcast is sponsored by the Canadian Race Relations Foundation. Today, my guest is Tamás Wormser. He grew up in Budapest and now lives in Montreal, and he has established himself as a presence on the Canadian and international film scene for the years following his immigration in 1986. His films have garnered many international awards and recognition. His latest film is about a small Jewish community in rural Uganda who came into contact with Orthodox rabbis from Israel, and as a result of that, everyone was transformed. The film explores identity, religion, and the long shadow of colonialism in a nuanced, sometimes disturbing, and startlingly beautiful feature documentary. His film will premiere at the Toronto Jewish Film Festival on June 8th. So welcome, Tamás.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here.
Yeah, so first of all, full disclosure, I did have the privilege of seeing your documentary, and it was very interesting because we hear a lot about, I don't like to call them communities we've discovered, because for the most part, in some ways, shape or form, they've been there for a while, right? But this had a different flavor to it. So what I'd like to ask you is, what is the genesis of this documentary? Like, what led you to do this?
Well, it takes me back to my previous film that was also dealing with Jewish subjects. These are my only two films that deal with that. It was called The Wandering Muse. And it was basically asking the usual question, what does it mean being a Jew? And I looked at answers through the music of the Jewish diaspora. And I came across with this community's music, like they are singing Hebrew prayers in East African melodies, and I was like enchanted by it.
Can I ask you a
And plus,
question? Can I
yes,
just,
sure.
how did you come across their music? Where was it?
Well, I was doing research, and if I rewind, the first thing I filmed for that film was a scene between an American and a Russian Jew in Berlin, singing an anti-Zionist song written and published in the 1920s in Yiddish. And I was just like flabbergasted that this existed, and so I wanted to find music that is Zionist, that shows the other side, and then when I found this community, and in a way they are the Jews of the Jews, because they are the outsiders of the outsiders. They are not being recognized by most Jews, even though they have been practicing Judaism for over 100 years. They don't claim to be a lost tribe. Their leader converted in 1919 officially. So they have been Jews ever since, and they are very serious about it. They are very religious, very spiritual, and so that's how I ended up discovering this community and visiting them. So when I arrived to a village which was very poor, and poor meaning like they have no running water, they have no electricity, they the Shabbat dinner is like they are all eating from the same plate, and with their hands, and there's hardly any food.
Mm-hmm.
And then they all sing because they have no TV, so they sing and they they dance, and it was quite a shocking experience for me, because I thought that this community that is considered to be poor by our definition is way more rich than I've ever seen anywhere in Europe or North America. Because they have no money, they only have each other. So if somebody needs help, the whole community was there to support.
Okay.
So I was really amazed by that.
Yeah, your words
And
speak such truth. Your words speak such truth about the poor.
yeah,
Hmm.
yes, it was really, really beautiful, and they really accepted me. I was the first white person who actually slept in the village, and because people usually go back to their hotel, um, and it was suddenly. So I was filming that film, and then suddenly a group of rabbis arrived from Israel,
Hmm.
and I knew that they will be coming. Um, and suddenly there was another film happening in front of my eyes that I had to film, like I was in it.
Oh,
And that film is this film that developed because it was such a fascinating encounter, these rabbis and this community,
right.
and I decided to follow them. So over the next 7 years, I went back 5 times, and I followed this relationship on the long term, and yeah, that's how the film was born.
Okay, so taking it back a step, there were other visitors before you, other like white visitors, because you mentioned that nobody, you were the first one to stay over, right? What brought the other visitors there in the first place, and what brought, like, why did the rabbis come there in the first place? Do you follow what I'm saying? Like, it just feels so random, but it's obviously
Yeah,
not.
well, it was actually their second time visiting the community. They found out they visited the Kenyan community in Nairobi, and
Oh,
then they came over to Uganda, and these are all these rabbis. The main rabbi is Rabbi Riskin, Rabbi Shlomo Riskin,
mm-hmm.
who is quite a well-known and controversial, in many ways progressive rabbi
Right,
in Israel from New York. And
right.
almost all the rabbis in his groups are Anglophone rabbis from Australia, Canada, or the United States.
Right. And he himself,
Um,
he's from Efrat too, which is considered in the Shamran, yes?
yes,
Yeah.
they are all from Efrat, in
Yeah.
fact, um, and yeah, so they all live there.
Mm-hmm.
So they decided to help this community to be recognized. So they organized an official conversion,
Mm-hmm.
and the film, the way I imagined when I started it, would follow this community through its recognition to moving to Israel, but of course that never happened. They did the conversion that is more like a recognition because these people have been very religious, practicing Jews for the last 100 years.
Right.
So they didn't consider themselves anything else but Jews,
So it's
and their
kind of like
names are
remove all doubt for the rest of us, right?
well, yeah, that was
Yeah.
the purpose of it, but it did nothing for Israel to recognize. Like Israel still doesn't recognize them.
Really?
Um, so yeah, that is the problem.
So,
Well, not that surprising,
no, it's
unfortunately,
not, but
but very heartbreaking.
what is, other than, we can state the obvious why Israel won't recognize it. And let's just say, because in my opinion, you can correct me if I'm wrong. First of all, they're people of color. Secondly, they're from Africa. They're poor. So I think part of Israel's concern, and I say that in quotation marks, is that they're not sincere. They just want to live better, right?
Well, the I imagine yes, the rabbis claim that Israel, the government of Israel, is racist.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's what they say. Um, it is, I possibly true. As hard as for me, it is very difficult to imagine because, I'm kind of an outsider in this whole group because I'm not. I'm an atheist. I don't believe in God, and yet I have a very strong Jewish identity. Um, so so. Um, so in many ways, I was an outsider in this group, um, but I didn't see any reason why they should not be recognized. I mean, like
Right, right.
when they were interviewed before the conversion, there were questions asked that I didn't know. I had no idea of any of the answers. I didn't have to respond them because I'm accepted as a Jew,
Mhm.
but they all knew the responses. So, it is fascinating. On the other hand, they have never heard of Hitler. Many of them never heard of Hitler. So, but on the
Oh,
other hand, we have never heard of what they had to go through during Idi Amin Dada, because they
ah,
had their own quote unquote Holocaust. I mean, they were not murdered in masses, but it
uh-huh.
was illegal to be a Jew, and they had to go into exile or hide their beliefs. So, yeah, it is very complex. The film is very complex. There are a lot
It
of
really
issues.
is. It really is. And as I mentioned in the intro, there was the how was it phrased? The long shadow of colonialism. It explores that also. So can you kind of delve into that a little bit?
For me, it was fascinating to see. Um, for me, it was fascinating to see how the white people come and they show the quote unquote poor black people how to live and
Mm.
how to do things, and I was fascinated to like there's very like a lot of scenes that shows this how with good intentions are trying to save these poor black people, but
Oh,
on the but there are so many layers to this, and on the bottom layer it is arguably the opposite. It is the Africans who are saving the white because they are so spiritual. They are so much more knowledgeable than most Jews are about the religion. You know, so it enforces their beliefs.
yeah. Tomas, it's funny you should say that because,
Yeah.
I don't want, I'm so cognizant, I don't want to give too much away, right? But as I was watching it, because I'm also watching it from the perspective of a person of color, and I'm watching and I'm thinking, why are they speaking to them like that? Why are they, you know what I mean? It was like, oh, there were moments where I felt a little uncomfortable. But
But that's good.
that's exactly what I was going to say. That's actually a good thing because I was like, oh, no, 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 no. But then it was the beauty of the way the community navigated it and the bond that still developed. And like you said, how it flipped that concept. And the teacher became the student kind of thing. So it was that
Yes.
one. But there were parts, Tomash, where I was just like, oh God. It's just like, and especially from my North American lens, I was also thinking,
Mhm.
I would not let you speak to me like that. But
Yeah,
then
yeah, yeah.
I had to also take a step back. I also had to take a step back.
Well, some of them do speak back, but most of the time they are like extremely hospitable,
Yes.
generous, and friendly people. Like
Yeah.
they're just unbelievably
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Like they are not confrontational at all, and they
No.
just allow certain things to happen without get arguing about it. Um,
Right.
So what I wanted to say earlier, I didn't
Hmm.
really finish my thought. I
Oh,
don't
I'm
know
so
if I
sorry. Go
can.
ahead, please. Of course you can.
No, but I finished, but I didn't. I lost my thought that I was talking about that I'm not religious. So
Yes.
for me, what it means to be a Jew is to be on the side of the oppressed, to be anti-racist, to be, you know, to be a feminist, like to
Uh-huh.
listen to the women also. Like I paid a lot of attention to them in the film.
Hmm.
Um, so 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 for me, it's like really hard to accept how someone can call himself a Jew and
Hmm.
be racist, because like for me it's the opposite, the meaning of it. But that's what's so interesting about the film, that we have different meanings. We all have different meanings, and
Right.
we don't agree, but we are still belong to the same community.
Absolutely. And I think I agree with you 100%. And we do get lost in who is a Jew or what does it mean to be Jewish. And we do tend, as a community, to tie it into the religious aspect, the believing in God aspect, and not recognizing that we are more than just that. And sometimes we're none of that, right? But I
Yes.
found it also incredible that given given the fact that you have said that you don't identify as a Jewish, as a religion, you said you're atheist, yeah,
Yes.
even though you still showed the beauty of Judaism as a religion.
Well, for me, religion is not so important, but Judaism,
Hmm.
spirituality is.
Yes.
So I always, in my work, I always try to show spirituality. Like that is, I'm fascinated by that, and I have lots of respect for that.
Yeah.
Um, so, um, so while there are certain things that I'm showing, like a roof and like things that I don't get, like I don't understand
Yeah.
why is this part of our our religion.
Uh-huh.
That there are certain things that I find really beautiful and very touching, and I was trying to honor those.
Yeah, you absolutely, you in my opinion, you succeeded. So
Thank you.
yeah, so you were there. Let's give me a little bit about the perspective of the rabbis, especially Rabbi Riskin. I have his name right. Yeah, Rabbi Riskin.
Yes.
Um, does he continue to support and interact? Is he part of? Have they given up on the hope of even going to Israel on a short term for education, for anything like that?
Well, they are still part of the community. They are teaching online,
Okay.
and now they have internet, and they have some limited with solar panels. We have some limited electricity as well. So they do take online classes. Um, the the communities keep dividing. I mean, that's in a way the film is about that too. How the Jewish community of the Abba,
Mm-hmm.
which means the children of
Mm-hmm.
Judah, um, um, is keep being divided by white people. Like they before, they didn't have Orthodox, they didn't have conservatives, they were Jews. That's it. And
Oh.
and as the white rabbis are coming, they are slowly but surely keep being divided. So this village is where it started. It's split into two, and then it's split into two again,
Oh.
and it all due to the interactions of the white people who come there to help, but they cannot help everybody, so they choose a group and not the other, and
Oh.
then
Yeah.
you know.
Oh. So.
Um,
Oh. But do they? How does so? Do they split them along denominations or just who they
No,
liked
I
more?
mean
Like, how did
they
it
don't.
split?
They don't split it. They don't go there. Okay, I'm going to split the community.
Uh-huh.
Like there are different stories, but it's always the same result. Often it happens that like one of the characters in the film, who comes from England, Ross, comes from England to help the community, loses touch, loses confidence with our main character Enosh in the film,
Right.
and decides to give the money to the other side of the village.
Ah.
That was not even like there wasn't even another group, but she sort of made another group.
Mm-hmm.
And said that, okay, I'm giving you the money. So suddenly, everything falls apart. Like,
Right.
you know, and this is just one example. Um, there are various examples why they split, but it's a community that grows quite fast. They have, on one hand, they have a lot of kids. On
Mm-hmm.
the other hand, on the other hand, there are more and more people converting to Judaism. That is outside of this community. It's not part of this film, but
Right.
there are other communities that in the last 10 years have decided to become Jewish to the point that right now there are more people wanting to be recognized as Jews than there are Jews,
Wow.
if you follow me.
Yes, I
I
do. I
met
do.
I met some Ibu brothers. Ibus are from Nigeria.
Mm-hmm.
There were a few of them were in Entebbe in Uganda when they were studying or working there,
Mm-hmm.
and many of the Ibus believe that they are the lost tribe, and there are millions of them,
Oh.
millions, and also it's very problematic because it is the only religion in the world that offers a citizenship. There's no
Yes.
other religion. There's no other religion. I mean, it doesn't make sense in a way, but like so, so this authority is very suspicious to recognize anybody, especially non-white people.
Right.
They're more flexible. They were more flexible with the Russians when they arrived. It
Yeah.
was okay that it was the father's father was, like they were
Yeah,
very,
because they actually changed things to make it okay. They changed the law
yeah,
to make it okay.
yeah. But they don't do anything like that for the Africans,
Right.
you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
So it is unfortunate, but
It is unfortunate because
mm,
you look at some of these African communities, and I wrap Ethiopia into that also, who go back. I will jokingly say when I do presentations, I'll say, you know what, when I read the Bible or the Chumash, whatever, I said, when I read it, I will find reference to India, I will find reference to Ethiopia, but I will not find reference to Poland. So that, they go that far back, but
mhm,
yet they constantly have to prove that they are worthy.
yeah,
I know Ethiopians, they have this tradition of being able to verbally go back and recite names generation upon generation upon generation, just by oral memory. And
mhm,
that's like an incredible history of millennia, right?
mhm,
But yet made
yeah.
to prove that they belong. And it is troublesome.
I know.
It's really troublesome. You know what I realized as I was the your main person, Enosh,
Yes,
the name, because it's Enosh. You might pronounce it better. Enosh Kiki Mana
Keki, Keki
Keki
Maina.
Mina. So I'm thinking to myself, his name sounds so familiar to me. Why does it sound so? And then I realize, oh, he's my Facebook friend.
Is he?
Yes.
There you go.
See how small the world is.
Yes, yes.
Like, that's why he sounds familiar. So, but
Yeah, he's a wonderful musician also, and a spiritual leader and a community leader. Like he composed many of the music in the film.
I saw that in the
And
credits. I was like,
yeah.
nice,
Yeah,
nice.
he's a very, very sophisticated, like he speaks like 20 languages. Like Africans speak so many languages, it's incredible, you know.
They do, though. I was listening to their Hebrew and I was rather envious. I was like, listen to their Hebrew. I've been struggling and their accent is kind of perfect.
Well, and they have incredible hearing too, you know, like
Yeah, because
the way they sing, they're always pitch perfect,
yeah, because
you
they're
know.
musical. They have the ear, so language
Yeah.
is so easy for them. Yeah, he's been my Facebook friend. Get this, since 2013.
Oh wow.
I know.
Wow.
I'm,
You know what? I went to the community in 2013,
uh,
first time in January. That was my first visit.
okay.
Yeah.
um, has he? I'm gonna ask. Has he seen it? Do they? Members of the community, how many have seen it? Has he seen it, and what is their take on it?
Nobody from either communities have seen it. In Uganda, I will bring it. I mean, it's a very difficult thing to bring a film. Like I would have to go there physically.
Uh,
I did present my last film that was partly filmed there,
mhm.
and that was an incredible experience because as I said, there was no electricity, so I had to rent a generator and hire a guy with a projector and speakers, and we had
Wow.
to bring gas and like with a big noise we were projecting
Wow.
on the wall of the school, and these people, I realized right there that they have never seen a film, never mind a documentary. They've never seen a film in their
Oh my
lives,
goodness.
so they didn't even know how to look at the. And
Yeah.
then when it ended, they were like, "Oh, we want to watch it again," you know. So so we shot it again, you know, until we ran out of gas, you know.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
so yeah, no, I would definitely like to show them the film.
Yeah.
And in Israel, the rabbis haven't seen it either
They haven't seen it.
because so far no Israeli festival or broadcaster had shown interest, which is very strange for me.
Kind of. Yeah,
It,
because Israel is
it,
a feature in it. Like it's like
yes, it's very much about Israel, even though it's all filmed in a small village in Uganda. It is about, you know, a lot of it's about also about authenticity. That okay, who is a
absolutely.
true Jew? Who
Right.
is to tell that he is or she is a true Jew? Like who has the authority, you know? And why do like how does this work? Like what is um
I wonder what
yeah.
they're afraid of. I wonder what they're afraid of. Um, you know, because when I was looking at it and even hearing them, you feel the unbreakable and unmistakable connection to Judaism and to being Jewish.
Mhm.
And you would think that people living in the Jewish state would embrace and want to see this because they will recognize themselves in the people of Putti.
Yes, I think so.
Mm-hmm.
I think
So
so.
it's like, what are you afraid of? And somebody has to break through and show it. And I'm telling you, it's going to gain such traction. I believe it'll gain traction among Israelis. I think they have Israelis themselves, never mind the bureaucracy and, the religious authorities and all that. But I think Israelis themselves would embrace this story.
Well, yeah. I mean,
I'd like to
I
think.
hope I hope to think too, but so far I only got refusals. So let's see.
So maybe
Let's see.
maybe maybe you need the power and influence of the diaspora behind you to get it out there. And even
Maybe.
like when I think of even I just mentioned Facebook, right? And knowing that he has quite a network on there, there's a source of getting it out there, right?
Hmm.
And that this documentary needs to be seen. So and his friends, like I think our mutual friends, expand across North America for sure, like Canada for sure.
Hmm.
And so did and I think, you know, even having it at the Toronto Jewish Film Festival will help propel it into the consciousness of the Israelis.
Yeah, well, the film has been at many festivals, not only
But this
Jewish.
is the Toronto Jewish Film Festival. Come on.
Yeah, yeah. So we had also Washington Jewish and Hong Kong Jewish, like all kinds of Jewish film festivals. We also had some ethnographic film festivals.
Uh-huh.
We also had some African film festivals, which is
Uh-huh.
great because it's a very African story.
Right.
It's probably a more African story than more typical African story than a typical Jewish story. That's for sure.
Oh, why do you say
Um,
that?
well, because the Jews don't usually go around and convert,
Oh, okay, okay, okay,
and Africa has been colonized by religions,
okay.
mostly Muslim and Christians.
Right.
So the Judaism is like it's almost negligent, like it's not non-existent compared to what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so. So that's why I think that it's more of an African story.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. So when was the last time you were there?
It was just before COVID, 3 years ago.
Okay. So you're due to go back for sure.
Yeah, yeah, I would like to go back. It's kind of expensive to go back, but I will try to get a grant or somehow to return to show the film.
Yeah, because I mean, I think you kind of need to and just like see for yourself how they're doing and whatever progress they've made.
Yes.
So you went, it was 7 years of filming. So you got to see so many changes, I bet, in the community.
Yes, yes. I mean, some of the 10-year-olds were starting to have kids by the end of the film.
Yeah. Like
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 it's
for real, like whole new generations.
yeah, but I often like films that span over a long period of time because you get a different kinds of insight than just a still moment of their life.
Right, right.
Um, but plus also it took time to finance the film, to find money for it, and
Yeah.
that was also one of the reasons why it took so long to make the
Oh,
film.
okay, Tomash, I've been working on a documentary for the count now is probably going on 10, 11 years, and
Mhm.
it's all about financing.
I
It's
know
all
there's way too much energy being wasted on running after money as opposed
money.
to making the film.
And it just kind of leaves like it kind of makes you depressed. It's like, okay, I guess he'll only ever be in my imagination and the limited B-roll footage that I do have. But what was something that surprised you the most about the community, even over the changes? Like, did you expect something to go one way and it went the other way, or was there somebody there that you imagined growing in a? Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, what is it about? Is there anything that caught you?
Well, I mean, first of all, everything was like I was just amazed by everything because I was an outsider, right? I
Mm-hmm.
was not never been in a small African village in sub-Sahara. I never experienced that. So so everything was like I was like wow. And then when the white people arrived, who were like in a way closer to me, to what
Uh,
I've seen, I was still like, wow, like really, like that's what they think, that's how they
uh,
believe.
wow.
Like for me, it was really just amazed by a lot of things.
Uh,
Um, in terms of expectations, I was pitching a film for the longest time that ends in Israel, that the community is being recognized and they move to Israel. So this has never happened. They
mm-hmm.
were never recognized and they were never allowed to move to Israel.
Right.
So the film ended in a way where it started, like they are still not being recognized, but they think that maybe the next generation or the generation after, eventually they will be recognized.
Right.
So but I was disappointed. That it is, at this moment, it seems like an unattainable goal to
Right.
be accepted.
Can I ask you a question? Is it
Yes.
on a scale of whatever to whatever, how much does it mean to them to be accepted by Israel? To be able to go there? Is it, you know, what do
Well,
you think?
okay, put yourself in a situation of a Ugandan person.
Uh-huh.
Like, you have, you know, uh, by the time you are 30, you probably lost at least a kid or two, maybe three.
Okay.
Your parents are probably gone by then.
Right.
They die very young. Like when I, when I arrived, Inosh's daughter Bina, who is now at university. At the
Mm-hmm.
time, she was 10 years old. She had malaria and she had typhoid.
Wow.
It's like, this is like very, like, I did get malaria at one
Mm-hmm.
of my trips. And it's really bad. Like, it's really, really, like, I was so sick. And
Oh
they go
gosh.
through that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
All the time, and often they don't make it, like, it's just very heartbreaking, the conditions.
Right.
So just on a material level, like, you would want your kids to go to school,
Right.
to maybe go to high school, finish high school, go to university. Like, these are very difficult things. Like, those few people who make it, they are exceptional. Like, they are so smart. Like, they are really, really smart kids if they if they manage to
Wow.
to get that far. Um, it's very unusual. So you have a lot more opportunities. On the other hand, Uganda is it's like paradise. Like, everything grows. It's very lush and generous.
Mm-hmm.
Everything grows. The mango, the pineapple, there's so much food. Um, so even if they are poor, they have things to eat.
Right.
Um, I For them, moving to Israel or being recognized by Israel is very,
Mm-hmm.
very important. Not only to move there, but just to be recognized for who you are. I mean, they
Okay.
consider themselves Jews for a good reason.
Right.
They know much more about the religion than most of us
Mm-hmm.
who call ourselves Jewish. Yet
Mm-hmm.
they are still not being accepted.
Yeah.
So
I guess
yeah.
that makes absolute sense, because I even think about in my day-to-day Jewish world life, ultimately that is what most people, whether they articulate it out loud or not, ultimately that is kind of like the marker of, if Israel says I'm okay, then I'm okay, because we
Mhm.
see that when we talk about conversions, we see that when we talk about weddings, all these things, but in particular conversions, I hear that a lot. Will this conversion be recognized in Israel, even if you're never going there? Because
Yeah,
that
yeah,
seems
yeah.
to be the gold standard. So I guess, why wouldn't it be for Putti also? Like, why wouldn't it be? It's a Jewish thing.
And Rabbi Riskin, who is a very, very knowledgeable person, in the
Mm-hmm.
film he argues that Jews have considered themselves as a non-messianic religion, but it's not true. Abraham
Right.
was converting people. Like, I know very little about religion, and I
Uh-huh.
really accept his authority in the subject, but
Yeah.
I thought it was fascinating that you could actually argue. But in this particular case, it's really more recognition, just to accept them for who they feel like, who they are,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So
Yeah.
yeah.
But I agree, like that that premise, that even though I just picture, two people arriving in Israel. One is just a regular secular atheist, if you will, Jew, but happens to be white. And, and then somebody from Putti who is like, could run rings around most of us. And really and truly, you're right. They would question them before they ever would question the other Jew. And it's like, wow. And that includes the Orthodox among who believe in Torah and study and knowledge and all this, yet it depends on who has that.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of crazy. It's kind of wrong.
It is very
disappointing.
Wrong.
It's really disappointing because it goes back to what you said about how you define Judaism and it being the people that stand up for those who can't stand up alone. And it goes back to that, is that we're not doing that. We're not helping our fellow. It's kind of sad. Wow. So
it is very sad. So, but the film also deals with the colonialist mentality that we often carry with us, and the different degrees of racism. Mm-hmm. We, because it's not just one shade. Like there are a lot of shades of racism, mm-hmm. And I was also trying to show the progress that happened over those 7 years in the lives of women. Like that was also a fascinating side line of the story.
But there's so many kernels of like just awesomeness in your documentary. So I really do encourage people to watch it. And you did validate you validated my feeling of uncomfortableness and that it was okay. And that
yes, absolutely.
Because I was, Tamás. There were parts where like I said before, I was kind of like, oh dear.
Well, I know. I mean, sometimes I was almost dropping my camera. Like, really? That's what she said? Like, that's what she said in front of the camera? And she kept saying this. Like like there were lots of moments that I was like, I couldn't believe. Like,
oh my God. Okay. That gives me, I feel better hearing you say that.
Yeah, but so I grew up in Hungary during the communism, and we were watching like I was watching TV all the time, and it was like obvious propaganda. We were always being told, okay, this is how you have to think, this is what you have to think, these are the good guys, these are the bad guys, and it's very much present in a much more hidden way in the West, like not only in the communism, but it's a different kind of propaganda, but it also exists. Mm-hmm. I always try to make films that could be interpreted in different ways. That is not, tells you that okay, these are the good guys, these are the bad guys. We believe that he's right and she's wrong, and like whatever. Right. Like I don't. I can appreciate films like that, but that's not what I do. I'm interested in showing different truths of the same thing.
And you did, actually, especially in that circumstance that I was referring to. You did. Mm-hmm. You showed the different perspective, which for each person was their truth.
Yes. I'm glad that it came across.
Well, I thank you so much for being my guest today. This was enlightening, and I will be watching it again. There is no doubt, because I do like to watch things more than once because sometimes you see something that you didn't see before, or you look at it and you hear it in a different way. So I will definitely be watching it again, and I encourage everyone to check it out. This is a film we're seeing, and once you've seen it, spread the word. So again, Tamás, I thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you so much. It's been a great pleasure.
Rivkush is hosted by me, Rivka Campbell. We're produced and edited by Michael Freeman. Our theme music is by Westside Gravy. We're proudly sponsored by the Canadian Race Relations Foundation and hosted by the CJN Podcast Network. To support our work and everything else the CJN does, visit the cjn.ca/donate to make a monthly donation and receive a charitable tax receipt. Thanks for listening.